Coming up on this episode of Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelli, former NFL player Mathu Gibson opens up about manifesting his dream of playing in the league, getting released sooner than expected, and facing the reality of life after football. He shares how throwing up before games, what he called butterflies, was actually performance anxiety rooted in a fear of failure, and how therapy helped him understand that being a football player wasn't who he was, it was just what he did. Mathu talks about battling depression, finding his passion for yoga, and his journey to becoming a certified instructor. Now, through his nonprofit Connecting the Dots, he's helping athletes discover who they are beyond the game. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Well, welcome, Mathu. Thank you so much for being here on Candid Conversations today.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this conversation, so I'm glad to
Me,
be here with you.
me too. For the listeners, Mathu was one of the MVPs of Brain Talk Day, which is Brain Talk Foundation's community offering. And Mathu you were the man. Like you showed up to extra things that you didn't have to. You came to the final walkthrough, you led the mental health session, and you were a panelist, and you were on the planning committee. So you were like in all the places and spaces making it happen. So I'm very grateful and excited to have you on. So thank you again.
Yes, I was much grateful to be a part of it. I think it's necessary.
Absolutely. And so we're going to get into your nonprofit and collaborations and how we can continue to work together. But I love that we have this connection.
Absolutely.
So I know plenty about you, but I would like for you to share with our listeners. Tell us a little bit about you and your background, and of course, your experience with the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Matthew Gibson. I like to introduce myself as I am a dreamer slash visionary. I'm a creative writer. Those are the things that I think intangibly of who I am versus like introducing myself as what I do. But all those things are kind of interwoven into the things that I do. So things that I do in life right now, I recently started my own nonprofit called Connecting the Dots Athlete Summit. That is our main event, but it's Connecting the Dots Initiative is what it's called. Um, also, I'm in the process of becoming a yoga instructor, all these different things. I'm a former NFL player. I played with the Denver Broncos. I also played in the Canadian Football League for the Montreal Alouettes. That was a journey, short journey, but it was a journey nonetheless. And it taught me a lot about my life, about who I am as a person, that there's so much more to me than what I do, and really tapping in with identity and purpose, which I'm sure we'll unpack in this conversation. But in all those things, I'm sure I missed some extras about who I am, but hopefully throughout this conversation that it comes out to light. I really feel awkward talking about myself at times, but I guess in my own little elevator pitch, that is who I am right now in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's always tough to like talk about yourself, especially when you are um not like a braggadocious person. It's kind of and then like you have people in the background like myself, like, tell them about this, don't forget this.
Like, oh, I forgot about that. Thank you.
Right, exactly, exactly. So yes, we will unpack plenty. So I can't wait to get into the yoga space with you. But could you please share how did you get into football to begin with?
Yeah, for sure. So I started playing football when I was in high school. My ninth grade year was my first year. Um, and then from there, I played football all the way till I made it to the NFL. So I got a scholarship to play football at Wingate University, which is a small Division II school here in North Carolina, about 45 minutes southeast of Charlotte. I played there and I loved it. It's a great school. And after I finished playing, I had this dream that's always been in my head to pursue my dream of playing in the NFL. And it was crazy. I remember it was around this time, January 2016, I wrote down on a sheet of paper, I will be on an NFL or CFL team by August of 2016. And so the way that one of my favorite quotes is from The Alchemist, when you really want something, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it. And so I wrote that down, and it really felt like the whole entire universe conspired to help me achieve it, because from that day forward, every step along the way was just like alignment and just things happening. And so fast forward, May 2016, I got invited to a rookie mini camp with the Jets. I did not sign a contract with them, so I came back home to Winston-Salem, in which I was just working out for months, for a couple months. And then August 2016, while working the camp, I got a call from the Denver Broncos, and they're like, "Hey, have you been working out?" And I said, "Absolutely, I have been working out." So they invited me out to come to work out for them the next day. I worked out for them and they signed me on the spot. And so I signed the NFL contract with the Denver Broncos one day. So I signed with them on August 5th, 2016. August 6th is my birthday. And so one day before my birthday, I signed an NFL contract with the Denver Broncos. In full circle, I said I would be on an NFL or CFL team by August 2016. I still have the paper. I wrote it down. And so that's kind of just like that power of like when you write things down and you speak it and you put that action behind it, the whole universe conspires to help you achieve it. And so that's how I got to the NFL. But they also say the NFL stands for not for long, right? So my journey with the Broncos was very short. I got released right after training camp. And then I went to Canada and I played football up for the Montreal Alouettes for about a year. And then after that, my career ended. I was released again, and that's just the way that that's the unsexy part that they don't talk about, right? That's the business. It's a business, and they can't keep everybody, even if you are a great player. But I learned so much about myself throughout the journey, and just recognizing that when you have a moment of living in your dreams, take time to really embrace that you are living in something that you once longed for. So that's how I got to the NFL.
That is like such an incredible story of manifestation.
Yeah, it really is. It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
Wow. And it's like right before your birthday, it's like the universe is like, happy birthday, Matthew.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm grateful. It's like
Yes.
it's definitely something that I always have. It's a strong point of reference when I feel down about something or like feel slow that things aren't working out. It's just a part of my journey. Everybody's life cycle is different, but my life cycle is that of like you kind of have to go the long way to get to where you're going, but you're gonna get there.
Yeah, I like that. That is amazing. Man, and you still have the paper. Where do you keep it?
It's in my storage unit. I actually need to find it. I know I have it,
You
but
should frame it.
no, I know
Yes.
it's yeah, it is powerful when you sit back and you reflect and like, I really wrote that. And it really came into existence, literally. How it did too. It's just ooh, it gives you chills immediately.
Yeah. But also for listeners, like you did the work. You didn't just write it down and just waited for it to come to you. You were still working out, being intentional. So that's
Exactly.
amazing. Okay, so started playing in high school. Did you play any other sports?
Yeah, I grew up playing basketball. That was my first love, I would say, basketball. But then, once I got to high school, I recognized that, yeah, I'm tall, but I'm not basketball tall.
How tall?
So I'm 6'4",
Woo!
but the position they used to have me playing center, and there's not a lot of 6'4" centers, and I couldn't handle the ball that well. I'm nobody's point guard. You don't want me handling the ball. So I was like, I had to make a decision real fast of kind of letting that dream go so that another dream could live. And so I played basketball growing up. I also did track and field in high school. So I threw shot put and discus, and that was fun. But that was just more so to keep me in shape in the off season.
Well, you're like really tall, really tall. And what like did you break any records doing shot put and discus?
Nah, that was, maybe if I would have had a little bit more time and I took it a little more seriously, I probably could have been really good at it. But I just did it just for fun to hang out with friends and to stay in shape. But it wasn't a sport that I took as serious that as like football.
Got it, got it. So basketball is your first love. And essentially you were like too big for your first love.
Yeah, nah, yeah, it was my first love, but then it's just the reality of like you have to have those kind of conversations with yourself of like, I'm not really, it's not that much fun. It's not that fun to me anymore. But then also it's just like realistically, I'm not that good at this. I'm good, but I'm not. And so I was like, I think my talents probably be better on the football field than basketball.
So
It's
you
really
had a
hard.
candid conversation with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard to be good at football. Excuse me, basketball. It takes a lot of skill, and I just did not have the skills to be a really good basketball player.
Understood. Understood. Okay, so with these sports, was there education around concussion? Did coaches provide you or your parents with any education, any written information, videos, anything?
That's a great question. And candidly speaking, no, that is not, I wouldn't say there were information given to my mom. I don't ever remember my mom receiving information about concussions and things of that nature. But I think what we always used to do before every season starts in football, our coach would bring the whole team together. On the back of your helmet, there is like this, it's like a warning, or it's like basically if you play this sport, you can get hurt, seriously hurt. So all of my coaches at every level, I would say, were always very fully aware and made us aware of the decision that we were making to play a sport that is violent and that you can be harmed in this. And so to take it seriously, don't come out here thinking, no, it's just having fun. Yeah, we're having fun, but you can get hurt having fun here. So be intentional about how you move. But in terms of concussions and things of that nature, it wasn't that much education, especially early in my playing days, like high school. As I got older in college, I think the world started becoming a little bit more. I think concussion started becoming more things that was talked about though, and how to like in a concussion protocol, that type of thing.
Understood. Okay. So you said that the coaches made you all fully aware, but what is fully aware? Like you weren't educated on the concussion space. So like what things were they saying to give you a feeling of like they are letting us know what's going on?
Yeah, so that like there's a potential that you could die doing this. And that is something that they said. And it's like, now it's not verbatim, but it's just like it's like what it's alluded to. Like you can really get hurt. Like we know about people who have been paralyzed playing football, or we know about people who have unfortunately transitioned or passed away playing football. And so making us aware to that regards that this isn't your typical contact sport. This is a sport that um, you need to be prepared mentally for what you are getting into. And so that's how they made us aware in that regards and also just being safe. They would say like protect yourself, being safety. So don't lead with your head, don't do things like that. Those are all things that they brought up, but the intricacies of concussions and brain health and things of that nature, I did not really know about.
Okay. So were they teaching you how to like fall safely, hit safely?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that is something that was always taught, at least by the coaches that I've played under. We used to have these things called mat drills, and basically we would do cartwheels, we would do tumble rolls to teach us how to fall, right? So when you fall, tuck your shoulder so that you're not like falling on your head or that nature. So we used to do things like that. And then tackling drills. Everybody had to do tackling drills, even if you weren't a tackler. I played offensive line, so I was blocking most of the time, but I even had to do tackling drills because you never know when you're on the field and you might have to tackle. Interception, you got to run somebody down. So how to form tackle, see what you hit. That was kind of the narrative.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, now this is a question that you don't get to ask people every day, but in being a football player um, in school and professionally, what does it feel like to get hit?
Hmm, that is a good question. What does it feel like to get hit? Huh. It depends on where you get hit. I wouldn't say it's the most fun thing. So like I played a position where I didn't really get hit that often. I hit mostly, but I have had an opportunity. One time it was an interception, and the quarterback had threw when I was in high school. And I remember I did not see the guy who was blocking for the guy who was running. Next thing you know, all I remember is seeing my feet in the air. I got laid out. And honestly, it didn't feel too bad because I didn't see it. I didn't see it, so all I remember is being in the air, and all you remember is hearing that thud on the back of the ground, your butt hitting the ground. So I wouldn't say it feels fun. There has been some hits where you got hit hard, and it's like, it's kind of jarring. That's what I would say. It's jarring. It can cause you to brace, like, this shit kind of hurts. I wouldn't like this out of any other context in life. Somebody hit me like this would not feel good. But yeah, I think you just so your adrenaline is pumping so much you don't even know what it feels like. But I think after the game you feel those hits, and so I mean it doesn't feel good, but it's not something you kind of become numb to it. So I don't know if I did a good job of answering your question on what a hit feels like, but to
That's
me
it.
it's kind of jarring, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. Well, now I want to know the other side of it. What does it feel like to hit someone?
So my ego says it's powerful. It feels good. You know what I mean? To be able to push somebody and move somebody against their own will is a great feeling. Like in that sense of playing football. it's an amazing feeling. It makes you feel good. But yeah, I think that's the best way that I can give it to you. It feels good, but sometimes it can hurt too. Like it depends. You just got to make sure you're doing it right. But if you hitting with the right technique, it feels really good to your ego. It feels great
Okay.
for your ego. Feels
Okay, good for the ego. Um, Now see, when I watch football, because still a sports fan, um, I just think it's got to be more painful when it's cold, like that bitter cold when there's snow on the field. Because even scratching your hand or something can be way more painful when it's cold outside, and then to like take a full body hit or possibly catch something on someone else's helmet or cleat or something like that.
Now, see, you are speaking to the little things. So, like your hands, that really, so like for me, my hands, I had to use my hands a lot. And so, especially when it's cold outside, that is what really hurts. Like, you might jam your fingers. Like, my fingers are jacked up in regards because, like, I've jammed my fingers so many times on people's pads. And so that does hurt. Like, and you just find a way, like I said, you kind of adrenaline is pumping. Maybe you tape up your finger so that you can just continue to do what you need to do, but it does hurt. That does hurt. And like the cold, getting hit when it's cold it is an extra team to it. Especially like if you're a running back or somebody, those guys get hit all the time. So you had a conversation with one of those guys, I'm sure they probably wouldn't describe being hit as fun. They'd probably describe it as something else. But for me, yeah, it is the little things like my ankles or my feet, getting your foot stepped on sucks. It really hurts bad.
You
And
don't
it's
think about that.
yeah, getting your foot because it's cleats. And so that happens a lot in the trenches. So in the offensive line, defensive line, your teammate, friendly fire, might accidentally step on your foot, step on your ankle, roll you up. I've had a couple really close call moments because somebody fell in the back of my knee, hurt my ankle, or I've had some surgeries because of that. But those are the little things that, yeah, that hurts. Painful. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you said friendly fire.
Mhm.
Is there unfriendly fire? Like, have you seen like not so nice things on the field from opposing teams? So years ago, I've heard that like people would eat onions or something so that their breath wouldn't be good and it would just be more atrocious for the opposing team. But of course, these are things I've heard as someone who has not played
Okay.
any kind. Well, I did play flag football in high school, reigning champs,
Okay.
but that's not the same. Have there been unfriendly things or people who have tried to, get in extra hits or anything? You see fights on the field, and can you speak to that?
I think that's a part of. I think that's a part of it. Sometimes, obviously, it's not warranted in the game, fighting and things of that nature. But when you have people, a lot of testosterone, men, a lot of testosterone, and truly every play is like a fight. And so it's like sometimes you have to be able to control your rage. But if things boil over, of course, I've seen plenty of fights on the football field. Um, I've seen people like grab face masks or things of that nature because maybe they're losing their control of emotions. So yeah, some things unfriendly because it's not a friendly game. It's nothing friendly about football. It's nothing friendly about another man running into your chest and you running into their chest. There's nothing friendly about it. So it's about just having, I guess, some sportsmanship in that regards of like, hey, I'm not trying to harm you, but I'm going to do what I need to do to win. And so in that grind, you have to be able to toe that line. And so yeah, I have seen some unfriendly things. People punching other people or people like, taking swings. Fortunately, I haven't seen anything super wild or violent, but typically if somebody loses that, I think the worst thing I've ever seen was somebody had their helmet taken off and then like they was hitting them with it. That was the worst I've ever seen. And I was just like, brother, what's happening inside of you that's making this happen right now? You took it to a whole nother level. Relax.
Oh, could
But
that be CTE?
could be, early on. I don't know. You're the doctor, you're the
Yeah.
doctor, so I don't know. Well,
Oh man. I mean,
but it's
yeah, that
normalized. Sometimes that can be normalized with us. It's just like kind of desensitized is the better word of like, all right, you're tripping. Let's move on to the next play. And then it's like maybe that person is ejected, maybe that person is gone, but it's like, yeah, you are tripping, but we still got to keep going, you know?
yeah. So do you jump in as a teammate to help separate it, break it up?
Yeah, for sure. I think in those moments you try to break it up. You grab your people and pull them to the side. I'm not gonna act like I'm some angel. There's been some times, not in like games or anything, but I've definitely been in my own scuffles on a football field. But for the most part, I think I try to be a level-headed person. Um, and so just trying to bring people back because at the end of the day, it's gonna hurt the team. And that's what it was always kind of preached to us about. It's like, you know, don't hurt the team in that regards. You don't make silly, careless penalties. That's a careless penalty.
Very true. I'm glad you said that because in my mind, I'm like, not Matthew. He's off to the side.
Nah, I mean, like I said, it's not a friendly sport. We're not like the coaches said. We're not playing patty cake. It's not a friendly sport, and so you kind of have to on the field. You have to have that switch, and I think that's important to be able to. That's how you protect yourself too. You kind of have to be able to have that switch where you can tap into, go into them dark places to be able to do what you need to do.
So you spoke about um your about coaches.
Mhm.
So in that space, there is a lot of shake it off, be tough, and in doing this work, I've spoken to other athletes, and there's a fear or concern of if I talk about this injury, um, am I going to be benched? Is someone going to take my place? And that is a motivator to keep pushing past any kind of symptoms that you experience. Can you speak to that? What is that like to have an injury or something and you need to say something?
Yeah, that can be really hard. It can create a lot of anxiety. And fortunately for me, I've never been diagnosed. We talked about this. I've never been diagnosed with a concussion, but like I definitely have had some injuries. Like ankle injuries were probably my biggest injuries in college and just my whole career. But I remember playing through some really bad ankle injuries in which I was like probably should have sat out. I missed one game in my whole entire career, but outside of that, I ended up playing, and I probably should not have played just off the strength of it was really hard to move. And, I had to just had a lot of tape, just a lot of numbing essentially to be able to do it. And it sucked. But the thought process that went inside my head was like, oh, I'm a captain. I'm a leader. I can't miss. I can't miss a game. People are looking up to me. If I don't play, we might lose. If I don't play, we might struggle. And I think that like coaches in their own way, they're depending on you as well to show up. And so like they are also trying to encourage you to play like, all right, well, we'll make sure that you aren't taking that many reps in practice, or we'll make sure that this is happening, but they are also banking on you to like, hey man, we need you to play in this game because some ways their livelihoods are connected to these athletes. And so they want their best players on the field, even if their players aren't at their best, especially if you don't have that depth. behind you. And so it can be really challenging for me. It was very I know that feeling, that anxious feeling, that feeling of like kind of just stuffing it in and just having to deal with it. Um, yeah, it's a challenge. It does a lot to you mentally, but more so you endure a lot physically. Yeah.
So knowing what you know now and the condition of your body, any kind of lasting symptoms from the league or high school or college, what would you tell your former self?
Hmm. What would I tell my former self? I would probably just say like definitely go get some more rehab. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself, but also don't if you really feel like you can't push through that, like if it truly hurts you, like you are in pain and it's like it's going to do more harm than it actually is good, don't be afraid to say, I can't do this. I can't play because it is your body. You only get one of these. And a coach is just going to have to understand. And then on top of that, that might help them to be able to go find other players that can step up if you're not able to do it. That's going to make the team better. So don't feel like it's all on you because it's not all on you. I mean, you are a part of it, but it's not all on you. You got to take care of yourself, take care of your body. That's probably what I would tell my younger self.
Great advice, and for listeners out there. So you get one body, you also get one brain. What would it take? I mean, luckily, you didn't have experience with concussions like that, at least not formally diagnosed, as you said. But you are a former player, so I feel you have a good idea of how you can get through to current players or people who aspire to play. And so, what do you think would have gotten through to you about concussion to help give you an idea or to take it very seriously? Because I hear about players who are like, oh, this is how you cheat the protocols, and it's not that serious, and push through. What would have gotten through to you to be like, oh, this is very serious?
Going to brain talk day. For real. I remember sitting in there. So like the first session when you really are breaking down like what is happening in the brain. And every time I'm like, oh wow. Um, I wouldn't say it scared me, but it definitely educated me further than I had even known. So I think something like that, having something like a brain talk day or really having like a 90-minute, 60 to 90-minute session where it's like, yeah, this is what's happening in your brain when X, Y, and Z are happening. I don't think it would have changed my mind about playing football, but I think it definitely would have educated me to be more aware of how I'm taking care of myself and recognizing that like or just even like noticing other teammates, right? I know teammates that had maybe two or three concussions prior to coming to college. And then they got to college and had another two to three concussions. And so it's like maybe just being there for them or just educating them of like, yeah, bro, I think it's time to hang it up. Or, I don't know, it's no need to rush back, just because of the information that I would have had. But I think a brain talk day type of session is very informative to like educating you about your brain in general. Like, wow, I didn't realize that my brain is actually squishy. It's not hard. It actually is swishing around like right now. So it's like, maybe I should be more aware about how I'm using it when I'm not playing football.
Love that. Yes, because the whole point of this is just what you said, awareness, not trying to stop players or anything, but just change that framework to,
Yeah,
instead of, just pushing past infinite injuries,
sure.
and what can come of that. But luckily, again, you don't have a lot of experience with concussion, not formally diagnosed.
Yeah.
So you get to use your beautiful brain and enter into this new space post professional playing. So can you tell us about being a yogi and what all that entails?
Yeah, so I started doing yoga back in 2020. Well, yeah, really like 2020 during the pandemic and kind of fell in love with it. This is cool. I like it. I felt more in tune with my body, mind, and spirit.
What
And
brought you to it?
I think I was just in a space. I think it's just where my spirit had led me. And I think that I was just like, it was time to kind of really what it was finding alternatives to just lifting weights. And so I wanted to get more flexibility and mobility in my body. And so like I'm gonna try it. But then I started doing that and realizing that it helped me to be more present. And I sometimes struggle with just being present. And so it helped me with that. And I kind of liked it and I enjoyed it and I just kind of got attached to it and I always had this desire to become an instructor. And so last year I met somebody who contacted me with this program that I am in now. It's called I Am Yoga and it's led by three wonderful women, black women led, and it's great. And they do a great job of just teaching you the basics of yoga and just it's so I can go on a tangent, but it opens you up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and just kind of the whole idea of you are living what you are teaching. So yoga is more than just being on the mat. You know, yoga is how you go throughout your life, right? And so I'm living what I'm doing on the mat. And so, yeah, like I said, three great instructors that they do an amazing job. I am yoga. And so in June I'll be an official 200-hour yoga teacher.
All right. Well, I hope to take a class.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so at Brain Talk Day, I met one of your colleagues, Chauncey, and he is into yoga as well.
Yeah.
So you see two very, very, very tall gentlemen, and you don't initially think yogis.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, what would you tell to athletes of all ages, of all types? What would you tell them about the benefits of yoga?
Yeah, I would tell them one, it's a good alternative to lifting weights. It gives your body a break. People think yoga is oh, it's not a workout. It is a workout. Yoga is absolutely a workout. I can burn up to 500 calories on the mat. And so it can definitely be a workout. It's a good work. It's restorative for your body. That's the first thing I would probably leave with. It's restorative for your body, but it's also good for your mind. It teaches you to be present in your body. Like how does it feel? How do my shoulders feel when I'm in downward dog? What am I thinking about? Like, right? So, am I thinking about what I have to do afterwards, or am I focused on where I am? So, helping you to be present. So, it has all of those things the mental, physical, spiritual, all that. It combines it all. So, I would tell them it's good to help you be a better player more holistically.
That
Yeah.
would is there an age that you would recommend starting? Because high school students may hear this and think, "Oh man, like that's not for me. I'm still on the field and all that." So, is that good for younger athletes as well?
Yeah, I think it's good for high school athletes too. I definitely say that. I used to work at a school, so I taught at a school for 3 years. And I used to do it with 5-year-olds. Yoga, I used to do for yoga with 5 years. Obviously, you got to tailor it a little bit, but I think yoga is for everybody, anybody and everybody. And obviously, you know, ableism that you have anybody with an able body can do yoga. And even if you are restricted in some regards, there are ways to be able to help move your body. And it's more than just poses and things. Like I said, it's a way that you live. Yoga can be just meditation. Yoga can be just how, you know, you moving in and out of life. It is more than just being on the mat. So yeah, I think that's kind of how anybody could benefit from it, but definitely high school students could definitely benefit from the asanas, which is what people think of when they think of like asana, excuse me, when they think about the different poses and things of that nature. So anybody could benefit from it.
So, does that mean that you have like lots of flexibility? You can get into the look on your face. Okay.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't say I'm an inflexible person. I do have some flexibility. I won't speak that, but you could definitely. I do have tightness in my body, is what I'll say. Shoulders, hamstrings, things like that. I played football for 10 plus years, so it's like I definitely have tightness in certain aspect, balance. Like right, if you try to get me in a tree pose, standing on one leg, I'm gonna be wobbling like a bridge. in a storm. So it's like, yeah, definitely areas in which I'm not your typical yogi, I guess. But no, it's not about perfection. It's about doing what's good in your body. And so that's really what it's about. Becoming like coming home to your body and recognizing like, dang, how does this feel for me? How can I move and flow? But not that flexible at all.
Okay, are you using the blocks to help?
Absolutely. Yes. Blocks are your friends. It's there to support you. They are there to support you. They absolutely use blocks. Absolutely.
Good, good. Well, I know that yoga, meditation, all of that also comes full circle and is a part of mental health. And I know that, you led the mental health session during Brain Talk Day. So could you speak to the mental health component for yoga and for you?
Yeah. So for me, mental health is something that like I had to discover after I finished playing, right? Well, I wouldn't say, yeah, I think I became more aware of it. So, like, it was the first time I didn't have football as this outlet to like release my sadness or release my anger through my physical movement or just exerting it or something. And I had to sit with it. So, a lot, I recognized that depression was real. I recognized that, oh, these butterflies that I feel before games is not butterflies, it's actually anxiety. And I feel that and I'm not about to play a game. So it's like, oh, this feeling. And so it took me a little while, but eventually I ended up starting to see a therapist. So I would say like that was a big part of for me. Going to see a therapist to help somebody talk through things with and kind of give you an objective perspective to help you give you the tools to do the work yourself. That was so big for me. And so like I guess now doing yoga, I incorporate all of that because it's more so mindfulness is what it helps me with of being present, like I said, of when I'm present on the mat of like, oh, my mind is wondering about what I'm gonna eat tonight. And I bring me back to my breath as a practice so that like in real life, when I'm maybe working, I'm here, I'm present, I'm working. Or if I'm having this conversation with you, I'm here, I'm present. That is all important parts of like developing a healthy mind, which in turn helps to develop and just sustain that mental health of, you know, all those different things. But it's just like yoga is just a tool in that regards that helps me to have a healthy mind, helping to be more mindful. And also just like it's so many other factors, just having community, somebody that you can talk to, be vulnerable with. That's so important when we talk about developing your mental health. And I think that for a lot of former athletes, when you are on a team, you do kind of have that. You have those people that you can talk to about certain things. But then like once it goes away, sometimes you're kind of back on this island of like, I don't have my college teammate that I can go to his room and talk to anymore. I don't have my former, my teammate that I was in the locker room just talking for hours. We don't have that anymore. So sometimes it's hard for athletes during that transitions to find that safe space again or to have that consistency of support. And that could be a hard hurdle, but it's important to have in cultivating healthy mental health.
Absolutely. Do you feel you could have benefited from seeing a professional about your mental health while you were playing?
Absolutely. 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 I definitely think there were things that I had to work through on my own, and I thought I was working through it. But yeah, when I think about myself as a player, performance anxiety was something that I struggled with, right? So I tell
Did
this,
you know it was performance anxiety at the time?
no, I didn't. I didn't know that's what it was, but I used to throw up before every single game. Every single game I threw up. Like I wouldn't, maybe not everyone, but it's a stretch. But there were most games I threw up before every game because I couldn't eat that much either. I would just be so anxious. And at the time, I didn't really, I didn't, anxiety wouldn't have been what I called it. It was just butterflies, but I used to be so anxious. And so I couldn't really eat before games um, because I would just be so, really what it is this fear of failure. And this is like, I did not want to fail. I did not want to fail. So like I'm over preparing in my mind. I'm literally seeing every single thing. Like I watched so much film. I know what this guy was going to do before he did it. And it was just like, don't fail unconsciously. And I wish that I would have, and I don't blame nobody for it. It just is what it is. I think talking to a therapist or talking to a psychologist at the time probably would have been able to release me and help me be freer earlier in my career. I think that near the end of my career, I got to that place where I was more freer and not afraid to fail. But earlier in my career, that probably would have probably elevated me a lot sooner.
Sounds like a lot of pressure on yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Pressure from others as well.
I
Maybe
think,
not like a negative kind of pressure, but just like it's on you, if that makes sense.
yeah, I think there is pressure, but I think that's just a part of it. When you're playing, when you're a person that's and it's a high stakes game, right? So it's like you don't get it's not like football is you got 82 games in a season. No, you got college, you got 12 games max, guaranteed, probably. And so it's like, all right, these mean something. And so like these coaches are giving you the game in some regards, and they're expecting you to perform because their lives are on state on at risk, like their livelihoods are at risk if we fail. And so they're not projecting that onto you. Or they're not saying like if you don't do this, I'm gonna get fired. No, they're not saying that, but in reality, that's a part of it. And so it's like there's an expectation to perform and perform well. And so you got that pressure. And then internally, if you got dreams, like for me, I always had that dream of playing in the league. I know that I have to be great. I have to play good. And so it's like I put extra performance, I put extra pressure on myself to be great because if I didn't, I would at the time I would really beat myself up about it. And so it's like learning to be kinder to yourself that you're not gonna be perfect, you know what I mean? But if you're making progress, that's what it's about. But yeah, it's a lot of pressure that comes with being in that type of role or being in those type of positions because you want to be great. You want to, yeah, that's really what it is. You want to be great. And if that is what you have in your heart, then you know what it comes with that, what the sacrifice that takes.
Yeah, and I think that translates well into the real world because you have used all of these experiences and then you have incorporated the beauty of mental health and then yoga. And there is pressure in running a nonprofit. And so I feel you have good tools for that. So could you please tell us about your wonderful nonprofit?
Yeah, so Connecting the Dots Initiative is the name. Connecting the Dots Athlete Summit is our like flagship thing, not thing, is our flagship event. And so Connecting the Dots is purely brought out of my story. And so it's the whole purpose of it is to help athletes discover their identity outside of sports. And so through the athlete summit. It's a 1 day event where athletes come in, they learn about their identity. We do identity development things, such as like Myers-Briggs, just to help to get the wheels turning of like, who are you, right? Let's learn more about you outside of this sport. We talk about mental health. And then one of the coolest parts, I think, is like this career and college exposure. So it's different colleges, different careers, people, career professionals that come and talk to student athletes about all the things that they do and expose them to all the opportunity that exists. Because for me, when I finished playing football, I didn't know who I was and I didn't know what to do. Right. So I thought I had a plan B, but I really didn't. And maybe that's okay. But at the same time, um, finding my identity and recognizing that it is not a football player is who I am. It's just what I did. And detaching from that was really hard, but rediscovering itself is a beautiful thing. And so being able to give athletes that tool while they're still playing, I feel will help them make them even better athletes when you know who you are, you know what to do. That's our slogan. When you know who you are, when you know who you are, you know what to do. So when you are as an athlete begin to develop those, really identify the intangible things about it, you can recognize and see your sport as this vehicle rather than this sense of identity. It's just a vehicle to get you to the things that you are trying to do. So maybe you are trying to go to the NFL. Well, it's a vehicle to get you to college. It's a vehicle to get you there, but you know who you are, so you can be able to have a solid ground about yourself when it ends.
That's wonderful. How long is it? It's one full day?
Yeah, so 1 day event. I'm actually in the process of yeah, I have some news coming soon, but it's really yeah, in the process of planning the second one. But It's a 1-day event, and it's about I think the first one it's about anywhere between like 3 to 4 hours, and so it's pretty immersive and intense. But it's a good opportunity to plant seeds and get the wheels turning. And as we continue to grow, I want to have more relational pieces to it and more mentorship and actually being able to do life with the athletes that we're trying to support. So that is the end goal. And like I said, it's exciting times. Like, you know how it feels running a nonprofit. It is when you get the vision, you get the vision, but it takes a little bit of work and persistence to nurture it to where it can stand on its own. And that's just kind of the phase I'm in.
Absolutely. And people say like you got to have that passion to keep going in this space. um, so how can people find out about it, get involved? Where can they find more information?
Yeah, so right now, on Instagram is our main source of information. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn as well. Connecting the Dots Athlete Summit is what is our that's our handle, Connecting the Dots Athlete Summit. So you can find
Any
us on
underscores in there?
underscores. So you mean like the at name?
Yeah, like what's the at name so people can
Yeah,
actually
the
find
at
you?
is CTD ATH Summit. That's what it is. Yeah.
Got
And
it.
so you can find us on Instagram at that. Obviously, as we grow, probably be some rebranding and things of that nature, but that's where you can find us and find information. And soon there will be more information about the summit that is coming up and just about how we plan to grow.
Okay. And you said former athletes. So what's your demographic? Is there an age specification?
Right now our focus is on we work with high school, college athletes. So it's helping them while they're still playing to start thinking about what is next. So that is the age demographic at this moment. But yeah, as we grow, I am not opposed to working with other people. But right now the main focus is on high school and college age athletes.
Well, you know that I am here to support and I can't wait to help out or participate in whatever way that I can. Now, my former athlete status is some years, some years in the making. I have not been on a track field or a court or anything in quite a while. I mean, I played things for fun, but on that, you know, intensive level, it's been a while. But I'm happy to share whatever experience I
Um,
can.
Definitely connect.
Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Kelly, and I've got something special just for my Candid Conversations crew. I'm officially launching my Patreon, and this is your VIP pass to go behind the scenes with me. I'm talking bloopers, travel adventures as I hit conferences around the country, my personal journey, exclusive Q&As, and so much more that doesn't get posted. And guess what? Membership is just $5 a month. But right now, I'm offering a special where you can join for only $1. So don't wait. Come join the Candid crew on Patreon, and let's keep these conversations going behind the scenes. I can't wait to see you there.
So, this is the time that I like to transition into the candid questionnaire. So, I'm going to ask you 5 questions that just help our listeners get to know a little bit more about you, some random fun stuff. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So, first up is what's one word your friends would use to describe you?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay. I would see, I can see that.
Wisdom.
Yeah. Your stature in your presence is so grand, but there's such a calm
Yeah.
about you. And you hear terms like gentle giant, like you are really tall, but there's just this like peace that comes with being in your presence. So I think wisdom can align with that. Like you just present very wise. I like that. If you could instantly master any sport or physical skill, what would it be and why?
Wow, that's a good. If I could physically master, oh
I think
man,
I know what you're gonna say.
I don't know. I don't
Not
know.
yoga?
I mean, okay, a physical sport. Okay, I guess sure. Yes. Okay.
I don't
I
want to feed it to you, but okay,
so
go
more
ahead.
so, I was thinking of like attributes. I was like, so is it strength? But I would, or maybe it's balance, because that's honestly what came into my head. Is like, I would love to have really good balance. That is something that I do not. I struggle, and so balance is amazing. But yoga, sure, I guess that kind of goes into it. But I would say balance is what I was thinking. But yeah,
Okay.
I don't think you can ever really master yoga. It's just it's progression. It's about self mastery, I guess, in that regards.
Yeah. So the why for balance, the why would be yoga.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because if you catch me on one leg, I'm shaking, and so the balance isn't there. And so that's something that I feel like I've always wanted to get better at. It's like, dang, how do I balance? Like, what do I need to do? Strengthen my life? I don't know, but finding more balance in certain, like, yeah, I would love to have better balance in there. So if I can master that, I think that would, yeah,
Do
balance.
you use the ear trick?
No, I never heard about that.
Yeah, so balance has to do with your inner ear and all of those kinds of things. And so if I have to do a balance task and I'm a little wobbly, if you grab the opposite ear that you're standing on, it'll stable you right out.
I'm gonna try that.
Try that. Let me know what you think. But of course, me over here, analysis, I'm like, could it be from taking hits? Could crystals have misaligned?
Oh well, I don't know how we need to get those things in alignment, but
Well, there are people that realign them. Yeah. We,
mhm.
we can talk about that
Yeah, I was
after.
about to say, let's talk about that then.
Yeah. Okay. Third question. What's one activity or hobby you find most relaxing or beneficial for your brain?
Writing. I love to write. I love writing. I've always been a writer. And so when I start writing, it's kind of like everything that is kind of in my head it just streams. It's like a constant stream of flow of thought. It's unconscious. It's just so beautiful. I love writing.
So, like writing, like journaling, writing creative stories. What kind of writing?
Journaling. I love to journal. I probably have 20 something journals, just collected over the last few years. But journaling, I dabble in poetry a little bit. Sometimes when I write people and I read it to people, it's like, oh, that's poetic. And I'm just like, oh, this is me just writing. But yeah, creatively, I wouldn't say necessarily like a short story or anything, but just like, I don't know. I'm the type of person that like I can see things and it just has a deeper meaning to it. And I think like when I write, I have a way of bringing that deeper meaning to the surface. And so that and that I don't know how I would describe it, but that kind of writing. So just
Sounds
reflecting.
like a gift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What is the weirdest or most unexpected item in your bag or car right now?
The weirdest or most unexpected item in my car right now. It will probably it will probably be it's a it's like a teapot. It's not a teapot. It's like where you warm up the hot water. I can't think of the name of it. It's
A
a
kettle?
kettle. It's a kettle. So I have to take it to my storage unit. We got a new one. And then I'm just like I'm riding around with a kettle in my in my trunk right now. Oh, that is
And
unexpected.
it's strictly for going to storage purposes?
Going for storage, but I have yet to go to storage. So but you never know. I might pull over and might need to make some, might come in handy. Who knows?
You never know.
I might need it.
Oh, you might save the day with that kettle. You never know. Okay, last question. What is your go-to guilty pleasure? Either TV show, movie, song?
Go to guilty pleasure. I definitely if I like to watch some shows. I like to watch good shows. Right now, I've been binge watching Yellowstone, and that show it's got me hooked. I'm like thinking about it, like, when I get done with this day, I just want to go back to Montana and see what's happening with the Duttons. And
Yes.
so that's my guilty pleasure right now. Is I love watching some Yellowstone.
That is one of my favorites.
It's a great show.
Yes. Have you seen the prequel? series.
1923. I haven't seen
Yes.
it yet, so I think that's what I'm gonna have to get into afterwards. But I'm like on season 4 right now. I'm like, okay, this is getting good.
Yeah. What's happening in it right now?
So right now, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched it or plan to, John Dutton is running for governor, and so that's what's happening.
Yeah, it's really gonna get good after that. What I love about the series is there's not a point where I'm like, okay, like same storyline, like, okay, I get
Yeah.
it. It's just always something.
It is always something happening in the show. It's never just a calm episode. It's never. It's always something, and I just love the beautiful nature about it. It makes me want to go to Montana. I'm like, wow, it is beautiful here.
Yeah, it really is. All that land. Do
All
you
that
ride
land.
horses?
Never rode a. Well, actually, I've been on a horse. I've rode it not far, but no, I don't ride horses.
Well, you'd have to start if you're going out to Montana.
Kind of scare me a little bit. I mean, not like I'm afraid. I would get on a horse, but to ride it how they ride it is, I'm like, you know what? That's a little. I respect you. I can observe you, but I don't think I want to ride you.
You could get into it.
Baby steps.
There you go, baby steps. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode of Candid Conversations. This is definitely going to be helpful to people because you got to pull back the curtain a little bit on what it's like to be a professional athlete, what it's like to transition, and then getting into the beautiful space of yoga and then the way that you're giving back to the community. It's a beautiful journey. So thank you so much for sharing it.
For having me. Thank you for all the work that you are doing, especially in educating people about brain health, not just athletes, but everyday people. I think it's important to know more about your brain because it does so much. And thank you for leaning into your gifts and callings. So
Oh, it is my pleasure. I think it is absolutely the universe that brought us together. So I am glad we have been brought together, and I look forward to collaborations and how we can help and support each other in the future.
I appreciate you.
My pleasure. We'll talk soon.
Wow. What a season. From powerful stories to eye-opening discussions, Season 1 of Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelli has been an incredible journey. We've laughed, we've learned, and most importantly, we've amplified conversations that matter. I want to take a moment to thank you, our listeners, our guests, and my incredible team who made this season possible. Your support, your engagement, and your willingness to have these candid conversations mean the world. From tackling the realities of concussions and brain health to sharing personal experiences that inspire and educate, this season has set the foundation for something much bigger. And trust me, we're just getting started. As we close out Season 1, I encourage you to revisit your favorite episodes, share them with a friend, and keep the conversation going. And don't worry, we'll be back with even more impactful discussions, amazing guests, and of course, real and raw dialogue. While we're on break, be sure to check out my Patreon page. Membership is $5 a month, but for listeners, I'm offering a limited time welcome discount where you can join for $1 using promo code Dr. Kelli 1. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep asking the tough questions and never stop learning. This has been Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelli. See you in Season 2.